Welcome back. We're live. How's it going, Jason?
Oh, it's going pretty well.
Good. This is number 2 of our sex episode.
The sex episode.
Sex episodes?
Never mind.
It's hard. That's a hard one to do.
The sex episode.
Sepsisodes?
Yeah, last week.
Sepsisodes?
So last week we talked about how to have good sex inside of marriage.
Yes.
And this week we're going to talk about how to not have sex outside of marriage.
Which sounds lame, I know. If you're hearing this and it's not your...
Don't shut it off just yet.
Yeah.
Hear us out.
Yeah, hear us out. I know. Listen. All right? I was a frat guy. I get it. I understand the pull of unlimited free pussy. I get it. But I wish you guys should have seen the eye roll Jason just gave me. I'll edit that out if you want me to. I get it. And I know it's super whack to say like, oh, it's actually not that good. Like that's one of the things I don't like in the
What's not that good? What's the saying?
hookup culture. Like people,
Uh-huh.
a lot of the things you'll see from like Christian commentators is they'll say like, yeah, hookup. Who even likes hooking up? It's not even that cool, which I think is
That's the wrong way to go about
that's the wrong way to go about it. Because I think
it. Because sex is very desirable.
yeah, sex is very desirable. It's really awesome.
God made women very beautiful,
Yes.
and He made having sex with them very enjoyable.
Yes.
So it's stupid to say,
Yeah.
well, it's not that cool.
Yeah.
Who really likes that?
Who likes having a harem? Yeah.
Oh, I don't know. King David and Solomon, maybe?
Yeah.
Every patriarch.
Ever had a harem. Anybody who ever could have had a harem had one. So it is hard to say that's not a good idea. But it's not a good idea. Let's be very clear here that Jason and I are saying that it's not a good idea.
It's not a good idea, but not because it's not fun in the moment.
Yeah, it's not a
We're
good idea
talking about
because God
long-
said it's not. That's
Yes.
why it's not a good idea.
Yes. And you can see examples of how harems were a bad idea by looking at King David and King Solomon and seeing how badly that went for them.
Yeah, in many cases it destroyed entire kingdoms.
And at the very least, created a lot of strife in the marriage.
Right. In the primary marriage.
Right.
The one that mattered.
The chief wife.
Yeah, the chief wife. So the thing...
Maybe that's where the term first woman came from.
Yeah. First among many.
Certainly, probably true in practice, unfortunately.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, probably. First among many, probably kids, too, taking just the record of our presidents.
And that leads us into...
Yeah. So the thing I'll say about that is that there's almost, if you're hooking up a lot, or even if you're just like having sex with your girlfriend or whatever,
but we're in a committed relationship.
yeah, we're in a committed, before the eyes of God. This is like recognized, whatever, dude. That's gay, lame, whack. Quit justifying
No,
your...
it's just not true.
Yeah, quit justifying your abhorrent behavior. Now, here's what I'll say. The effects, the negative effects of hooking up and stuff are actually really hard to associate with hooking up. Like the anxiety you'll feel, the emptiness you'll feel.
You don't necessarily connect those
Right,
to
you
having
won't-
lots of sex.
Yeah, you won't connect those dots. In fact, you may see having casual sex
As the antidote.
as the antidote to the...
Well, because you feel nervous, not in the moment of having sex, but when you're not.
Sure, yeah, exactly. When you're not stimulated.
Right.
Just generally.
Distracted.
Yeah. And so it will erode, for men in particular, it will erode your sense of purpose. That is a huge part of what it does. Because I would say almost maybe even the entirety of the like purpose and drive you feel as a man is to provide for the people that are dependent on you. And if you're having casual sex, you are extracting the most vapid part of a relationship with a woman from that woman without any sort of commitment that would give you a sense that she's depending on you. So it erodes your sense of purpose. And it instills in you this concept of the idea that you're just like this like bull. Like you're not even like
you're just there to seed everybody.
Yeah, you're a stock animal. Like you're not even like nobody even needs you. You know, like this girl doesn't need you.
Mm-hmm.
You're just your guy number. You know, in many unfortunate cases today, you're guy number 12. You know, you're not special. And she, you know, she's girl number 12 for you, so it's not like she's any more special. But so don't take what I'm saying as this like anti-woman, women are sluts type. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying you're a retard and you need to fix that. So
I'd call you lost, but that's just me.
Yeah, that's just Jason's softer, much more gentle than I am in general.
I'm the sweater vest.
Yeah. I know that guys like me would not have needed
your boxing
lost.
gloves.
Yeah, you're lost. Because I would have been like, yeah, I am lost. Like I would have manipulated that. You know what I mean?
Okay.
I needed somebody coming up to me being like, dude, you're a retard. I know you. I know you're a retard. You're not going to trick me. That's what I need. So yeah, that. So how do we avoid being lost or a retard? That's the
lost retards.
Lost. Yeah, how to avoid being a lost retard is the topic of discussion today.
It's probably a little late, but this is not an episode for children.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Heads up.
None of these episodes really are for children.
I will put in the description. I'll record a disclaimer before.
Okay.
And put that ahead.
Okay.
Our last episode that I uploaded, so not last week's, but because we're recording these back to back, so the episode 41, I believe, might be episode 40. I don't remember, but
okay.
I did edit out the one part that I was like self-conscious about. I took that
Did
out.
you?
Yeah, and
Okay.
I put a like disclaimer at the beginning of the episode where I was like, listen, there's a really weird cut in the middle of this episode where it's just like,
I couldn't make it smooth.
yeah, I couldn't figure out how to make it smooth, and it's 10 p.m. and I don't feel like dealing with this. So I just took something out that I was saying and I thought was like not good.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
so
good.
I'll put a disclaimer up front on this one. So yeah, not a kids episode, but we are going to
Candid
talk about
description. Yeah. Pornography, masturbation, as promised last week.
Yes. Yeah, pornography, masturbation, hooking up, how to keep yourself virtuous for your wife, but in a real way, not one of these gay evangelical half feminine
Purity ring.
purity
type,
ring Jonas Brothers type.
burying it
Yeah.
deep inside.
You can't be just don't
like
be
a
alone
drunk
with her.
Irishman
Yeah.
pretending their child didn't die.
Yeah. Yeah.
better the boy.
Yes. Yeah. Having two guys in like Dillard's button-up shirts describe the most gay, feminine way to avoid having sex with a girl. It's all about being sweet and kind and like, you know, just being gentle. Shit's so whack, dude. It's so unbearable. So, Jason, how do we keep ourselves virtuous as men? How do we preserve ourselves for our future wives?
I think it's very easy to not understand when you're younger the consequences of what you're doing. It's a very in-the-moment thing.
Yeah.
Lust and sexual attraction and the urge to masturbate or look at images can come upon you out of nowhere, as any man can attest to.
Yeah.
So how do we defend against those things? I'd say in my own experience there has been, well, I guess I wish I had known. I wish somebody had told me a little more explicitly how damaging, and maybe in detail, what it could do to your wife if you have this kind of past, and how emotionally damaging and difficult it is for a woman, especially if you end up marrying a woman who has kept herself, and you haven't. So you are not bringing the same thing to the marriage bed as she is.
Right.
She's bringing her whole self, and you're bringing a fragment.
Right.
And I didn't think of that back in the moment. all those moments prior to getting married.
Yeah. Yeah.
I had a vague notion of saving something, and so I did, without getting graphic, I did save something. I saved the most important aspect.
Good.
But that's it.
Yeah.
And everything else I gave away. So and I really wish I hadn't.
Yeah.
So maybe this is too sweater vesty of a feel. Just I just wish it was different.
No, I don't think so.
No.
No.
Well, for one, you may actually limit your choices of a wife by your behavior now.
Yeah, you could if you want
There
to
are
marry
women or women's fathers who will not let you possibly marry their daughter. If you're in a concern, maybe this is, I don't know, if there's people listening who have never encountered anybody like this, but if you're not familiar with conservative Christian culture and men who expect young men to ask them about their daughters and ask them for permission to court them or date them at all, so it might be way out of left field for you, but that is part of the culture.
And that is the kind of girl you want.
Those are the most stable, the most loved, cherished, protected girls in the world.
Yeah.
Those are the best wives.
Yeah, dude. If you want to live,
and that's on the father. I'm not saying this is not trashing the girls who didn't grow up this way and saying you're worth less or something, but I'm just saying they didn't have the same security as the girls whose fathers cared enough about them and were aware.
Yeah.
And these are just grown-up boys who didn't ever realize or weren't taught, and they're in a lot of ways a victim of their cultural upbringing and generations before them who have made mistakes and not passed down traditions that had real life consequences.
Yeah.
Like women running amok because the men who raised them don't care about them.
Yeah.
Who treat them like little whores.
Yeah.
Yes. Who allow them to act like whores because they never loved them as little girls or young women. They may have loved them. I'm sure they loved them as young girls. Little girls are very easy to love. They're very sweet and cute and everything. But teenagers, young women, wow, they're an adult now and they can make their own choices and they really want to wear these clothes and they hassle me a lot when I don't let them. So men who are afraid of being henpecked and won't put their foot down on stuff don't lead their households well and don't protect their gates.
Right.
They let marauders in, and marauders are you retards.
Yep.
You lost retards who are just yammering to get out these women behind the bars.
Yes, a little marauder you are.
So don't be a marauder.
Yeah, and if you want to buy a nice car that's not going to break down, that's not going to require a bunch of maintenance, it's going to be smooth, easy ownership process, a conservative Christian girl who comes from a whole family that is not broken, there's no divorce present, who has a strong father, that is you are buying into one of the most, what's the exact quote from the Bible? It's like
I think it says you're buying a Toyota.
Yeah. That was a good one. No, the exact quote is a loud woman is like the destruction of a home or something like that.
Oh yeah, there's some awful descriptions of, the women we're talking about.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and so if you want to ensure that the woman that you're marrying is a respectful, gentle woman who isn't going to henpeck you, who's going to be the cornerstone of your entire existence.
It says that it's better to live on a corner of the rooftop than to share a house with a contentious woman.
Yes. Yeah. Okay.
You're better off being up in the elements by yourself without much good food.
Yeah.
Rather than being down where it's cozy and some woman is
in your ear all the time, being a bitch. And that's what you're getting when you are hooking up with girls and acting a fool. That's what you are doing. You are destroying your opportunity.
For that.
Yeah, you're destroying your opportunity to. Now it is a little bit easier for men because you, as a man, you do get to pull this I'm reformed switch, which I did. So like I got to act a fool from the age of like 15 to 21, and then I was saved, and I got to pull the like eject switch on that, and people will just give a lot more leeway to men around that sort of like I've corrected course, I'm better now, and they are way less interested in your sexual history. And so you do like you do need to but that doesn't. I'm not saying you have carte blanche to go act a fool for the next 3 years if you're 19. What I'm saying is that I'm not sure where or how, but somehow that gives you more responsibility in the situation. So you need to act accordingly. You need to act even more seriously around your.
In other words, don't depend on. That's the equivalent of saying, well, God forgives and He's glorified.
Right.
When He forgives me my sins, so I might as well sin a lot more so He can forgive and His grace will abound.
Right. I'm going to maximize the payback. I'm going to get the value out of this ticket. Yeah.
Exactly. God's going to real thank me.
Right. Exactly.
For all my debauchery.
Yeah. And so that is obviously an errant way of thinking that's stupid. And so thinking that but it like this thing that it's like God will forgive you for your sins should instill you with this profound sense of gratitude and humility. And so the fact that people are much more willing to like forego men's malfeasance in this area, I think should instill you with a profound sense of gratitude and humility. And so there's that function for sure. The one thing that I think I was really interested in saying here is there's two things, two thoughts. One actual practical tip and then one thought. And one of them is that you should get married as early as you can.
Yes.
That is there's a reason
there are some caveats to that, but I agree overall. Yeah. So yes, go ahead.
Yeah, there's a reason why people used to get married at 15. It's not because they died at 35. It's because they were trying to bust a nut. And that's okay. As long as the girl you're marrying is from a good family and you're a good, and you come from like, you either come from a good family or you figured out how to get a good head on your shoulders. Because my dad didn't come from a good family, and we know, I think I personally know guys who are, I would be totally fine like dating obviously they're 2 decades older, but dating one of my daughters if the age scale was matched and they came from bad families. So it's like coming from a bad family does not totally eliminate your sexual and like spousal marketplace value, but it's a very good way to evaluate people in general.
Yes. That should send up red flags, if nothing else.
Yeah, you should definitely maybe
proceed with caution.
If you fall in love with a girl whose parents are divorced, maybe getting married right away isn't the play. Maybe spending some time getting to know her, asking her questions about what she thinks.
Actually, getting married, here's one of the caveats for getting married really early, is this should be done, I think, in the context of both sets of parents being very involved.
Yeah.
Because you're so young and you do need the guidance when you're younger.
Yes.
And they're trying to protect you and do what's best for you. And they believe that you, I'm not going to use the phrase, but having intercourse would be better inside of marriage, and you're already ready for it. Yeah. Your body is developed and ready, and you're having the desires. There's less birth problems with women at younger ages.
Yep.
It's the stupidest thing to wait until you're 30 plus to get married and then start families when you're middle-aged. You know, they call those, I think it's at 35, I could be wrong, but they start calling them geriatric mothers. Geriatric is the word for elderly person.
Yeah.
So that makes geriatric sense. Pregnancy.
Dude, the older the guy gets, the more likely that there's going to be mental illness incurred by the child.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
That's why a lot of the times you see kids that have, they're Down syndrome or they're autistic or whatever, their parents are like mad old.
Anyway, but in the context of parents assisting with this, not arranged marriages. I'm not saying dad goes out and picks a son based on his income and all that, and the daughter's like, "Who's this again?"
Right, but I mean, sometimes.
But that would be a lot better success rate, I think, than what we've got now.
Yes, yeah.
If we're talking about
if we had to
longevity
choose
of marriage
between-
and connectivity of culture, if my parents had gone out and found a girl that they thought was best for me,
yeah,
I don't know. I'm very happy with my marriage, and it's a good marriage.
right. God took
But
care of us.
I could have been married sooner and had a really good marriage
right,
as well, if the culture was that kind of culture.
right,
Or if we form a Christian subculture that has more of that leaning to it.
yeah,
But that's a couple generations down the road, I think.
yeah, for sure, for sure.
We're working on it,
yeah,
though.
we're getting there.
Yeah, just
Just you
look
wait.
look out.
You wait, dude. You think the San Francisco chorus? Have you seen that video? The gay guys at the San Francisco Orchestra being like, "We're coming for your children."
I heard
You
it,
see that
yeah.
video? Yeah, dude. They don't even know what's coming.
You just try it.
Yeah, just try it, dude. See what happens when Christians start having more kids. Turns out gay guys can't have kids. Christians can have like 6. Buckle up. Yeah, arranged marriage is definitely preferable. But one of the things I'll say is that if you think that your ability as a young person to spend all-nighters is better spent... Dude, I almost cussed. I'm about to get so angry.
So
If you
amped
think
up.
it's better, if you think your years, like 18 to 22, of being able to stay up all night and then being unaffected by your performance the next day is better spent getting ready for an exam than raising a child, you are a gup brain. You're a little lizard-brained retard. You can stay up all night at 18 and be unfazed because that's what babies do. That's why you can stay up all night. So please, dude, I would much prefer you staying up all night to take care of a child than to stay up all night getting ready to take a math exam. I have my marketing calculus class, my statistics class. I have a big exam tomorrow. I need to stay up all night. Does that sound like it's purposeful? Like that has a lot of like reason to, like that's a real reason to live, is to take a math exam, as opposed to staying up all night making sure your child isn't sick and then being able to play with them the next day unfazed. That's why you have so much energy when you're young. So get married at 18 if you can. That's a big one. That's a big way to not have sex outside of marriage.
It's just shorten the
Just
window.
get married. Yeah.
Shorten the window that you can actually do it.
Yeah, and this
Where you don't have a healthy outlet, I should say.
Yes.
Obviously, adultery is still a problem.
exactly.
But the longer those practices are in place, the harder they are to dislodge,
Yeah,
too.
the harder they are to
The
break.
sooner you are exposed and to porn, and the longer and more hours you put into it, the more your brain is programmed with pathways, reward pathways and habit pathways are formed to where you will be triggered to masturbate or look at porn based on emotions such as like loneliness, tiredness,
Sadness,
sadness. Did I
stress.
say loneliness already? Stress. Yeah, you're treating yourself.
Right.
It's a hormonal boost that you are giving yourself based on discomfort.
Right.
You're desperately trying to treat something that with you're trying to put a Band-Aid on a leg that got blown off by a grenade.
Yes.
You're like, maybe this will help. I don't feel good.
Yeah. And what Jason's talking about is that your brain forms physical synapsal connections in between its neurons that are like, this is how we get the reward we're looking for, and those they physically become associated with certain activities. So you are creating a physical dependency on pornography, and that's not good. I mean, if you get
It's
into
like a well-worn road. It
Yes.
gets harder and more packed down the more you trod it.
right, and it's harder and harder to build alternative infrastructure.
Right.
Because
You
Yes.
always can. So
Right.
it's not hopeless at all.
Yeah, and it's
but
not an
it's harder
excuse.
and harder. Yes, it's not an excuse.
Yeah, it's
None
not-
of this is ever an excuse, no matter how hard it is,
Right.
because this podcast is about working hard.
This podcast is about working hard. It's about breaking a sweat. which I'm doing right now in this car.
Yes.
I'm working hard, baby.
AC does not work as well when the car is sitting still in the sunlight.
Nope, it does not. So don't look at porn. The longer you look at porn, the harder it's going to get, because you're building physical dependency, and this is a good way. So this is biblical somewhere. I don't know where, but I should have looked this up in between our recordings, but I guess I couldn't have, because I don't have any cell service. But you are a big part of being a man that differentiates us from women is our ability to isolate ourselves from our emotions and remain a sort of stable, stone-like lighthouse in the midst of storms that other people, children and women, can grasp onto for safety. And that's a strength, and that's a big part of being a man.
It's a purpose.
Yeah, it's a purpose. When you are, when you allow yourself to be tempted by a woman and you give in to that temptation, you are giving her that strength.
Mm-hmm. I think it's in Proverbs. Don't give your strength to women.
Okay, yeah, there we go. So you are think of yourself as a crusading knight. You are a chivalrous nobleman from the medieval ages. You are here to withhold the honor and order of society, the what is standing between everything you love, the rolling green hills, the beauty of your women, the joy and innocence of your children, the lusciousness of your food and fields, all of that stuff that's standing between that and foreign actors who are looking to rob and rape and steal, is you. And when you are turning around looking at some girl's bosom and trying to put your face in it or whatever, you are distracted and weakened against those invaders. You're distracted from and weakened against those invaders. You are giving into a Jezebel. Whether she's from your town or not, she is acting as a foreigner. She is a swarthy, dark-haired, dark-eyed, brown person coming into your field to sneak.
Whoa. You just kept going with that just to prick me, didn't you?
Yeah, I did. I was messing with you. There's no... When I say foreign, in reality, I mean like foreigner in a Tolkien sense. It's a vague... It's a
not belonging to the society.
Right, not belonging to any particular people, but it's a monster off in the woods looking to invade your village.
Marauders,
yeah. Mongols. So you're giving your strength, you're giving this thing that's this preserving, life-giving, protective power, you're handing it over to what is probably a harlot, what is probably a girl that has no roots, has no, she cares very little about anybody else but herself. And that strength, all that energy is just going into this bottomless black hole that is her soul. It's not being used to generate wealth for anybody or create safety for anybody, or it's being harvested and wasted, burned up into nothing by a Jezebel, by a foreign actor. And so you should
whore.
Yeah, a whore. And so you should think that way. That, for me, that's been a fantastic, because I'll be totally candid. I mean, I wasn't saved. I had no reason not to look at pornography when I was a young man, and I did constantly. And it has made it a incredible struggle throughout my married life. And it's something I still struggle with today. And one of the things that has steeled my will against porn in the later parts of my life has been that thought of, like, I am not going to give strength that's reserved for my daughter and my wife to these drug addicted maniacs on the internet.
Yeah.
And just picture yourself as a knight in armor, like standing up with a shield and sword, being like, "No, whore, I will not engage in that." Like, dude.
I do love the You remember that coin that I gave?
Yes,
the challenge
I still
coins.
have it. Yeah.
You can buy challenge coins. If you don't know what a challenge coin is, it's about the size of maybe a 50-cent piece or a little larger. And these particular ones had the armor of God
Yes.
on them, and a verse from Ephesians, I believe, about fighting not against flesh and blood, but against principalities and powers, and basically dark spirits and evil, spiritual evil in the world. And how we fight against that is not just being strong, because we can't in our own strength. And I think this is ultimately the point I want to make, is that you can't fight this battle on your own.
Right.
Because you can't save yourself from your own sin.
Right.
You are dead to sin, which means dead people can do nothing for themselves. They have to be helped.
Yeah.
Likewise, so your natural state is to be sinful and to be selfish and to seek pleasure in all of its fleeting forms and not care about anybody else.
Yeah.
And so it is entirely natural for you to look at pornography, to seek any kind of sexual satisfaction at your own hand with any woman who will give you the time of day, and anywhere else that's even darker. The only way to actually combat that is not by willpower, and the only thing that has helped me is because I've tried willpower, I've tried counseling, I've tried, shame talking myself, whatever you name it, and I've tried it. The only thing that has actually helped to decrease my desire for it, and that's the key part, is changing your desires.
Yeah.
Because your desires are naturally inclined inward to you. Human beings are inward-pointing creatures in our sin state. And the only way to be outward-pointing towards our wives or our future wives or towards our children, our communities, is to ask God to help you and to die to yourself. So to kill off your sin man, or injure him to the point where he can't fight very much or very often. Because there's two sides of you warring. When you are saved, there's your reborn self that is bolstered by the Holy Spirit and given strength through God, and then that's constantly fighting against the old man, the sinful man, the corrupted man who wants nothing but death, destruction, misery, and any kind of pleasure he can get his hands on, and to drag everyone else down with him. So it's this dichotomy that is fighting against each other. And over the course of your life as a Christian, you gradually, through prayer and practice and God's mercy and grace, you gradually become more in line, your life becomes more in line with God's law and his desire for your life. So, the only way that I have found to decrease lust, to decrease the desire, the impulse to masturbate, and to decrease the desire for pornography is to pray and say, God, I can't do it. I've tried really hard. I know it's bad. I don't want to do it, but I keep doing it. Just like the Apostle Paul says, I do what I do not want to do, and that which I do want to do, I don't do.
Yeah.
It's like I have the holy desire to be righteous, but my body keeps failing me.
Yeah.
The old man keeps rearing his head, and my heart turns me down the paths of darkness again, towards the harlot. So, pray every day. Pray multiple times a day. Anytime you think of it, God, please change me. God, please take away my lust. God, please take away my desire for pornography. Please take away my impulses for masturbation. Protect me from situations where temptation arises. Help me to foresee them, to avoid them, and to actively fight them when I'm presented with when a clear and present danger is presented to me. For instance, you're scrolling on Facebook and some ad pops up that you didn't look for, but some swimsuit model is right there, and now you're faced with, do I click on this ad, or do I search for something else because that has whetted my appetite? Or do I say, that is a computer enhanced version of a lost woman who is selling her body, and I need to respect her more than she respects herself.
Fine as she may be.
She's gorgeous.
Yeah.
She's perfect even.
Yeah. I wonder how she got
unnaturally
that.
perfect.
Unnaturally perfect.
Yes.
It's
She's
like almost strange.
Almost
how perfect she is.
AI-like. Yeah.
Yeah.
And you say, this woman is not mine. I have no rights to her, but I do have a responsibility to her to treat her lovingly by not looking at her.
Right.
And by not getting the muck on myself, by not corrupting myself in the process.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and I think that extends to the premarital sex part too. Like you, if you love your wife, your future soon-to-be wife, then the action you will take is to not have sex with her. And I think it's really common today because it's. Now, I won't even say today because I have no concept of what this is like in the past, but it seems common for people to say, even for like the adults around young people, to be overly forgiving of the acts that young people can take in the throes of passion. Because it's so hard, and they remember being like that, and they, we had sex before we were married, and it's fine.
Yeah, we survived.
We survived, but yeah, that's right, you survived.
Yeah, survive's not the goal.
Yeah, survive's not the goal.
Thriving is.
Yeah, thriving is.
Thriving, not surviving. There's a T-shirt.
There you go. And so it is. Family's here. I just got mad self-conscious about this all of a sudden. I thought I was going to be totally fine. It's like, we're in a car, they're not going to hear us. But now that they're here, I'm like...
Oh, they'll be fine.
Okay.
Worst case scenario, we take a minute while they walk by and tap on the window and then just edit that part out.
Yeah. I'll flag this right now, actually. That's not what I meant to do.
Did it go away?
I hope not. Hope it just minimized it.
Show all windows.
There it is. Okay, we're good. Nice. Sick. So now I don't know how to mark it. Nice. Love Max. What were we saying? Oh yeah, I was saying I think that like people really are willing to like overly forgive malfeasance in this department, but I think you have to actually be pretty ruthless because of how hard it is, and just like Jason's saying, you really can't do it alone. You can't. There are going to be times where like you have limitless in the modern era. You have limitless access to your prospective spouse. You can send each other nudes. You can sext. You can call each other on the phone and speak graphically to each other. You can arrange to meet up.
Hopefully, no one's like, "You can do that."
Yeah. Hopefully, I'm not
putting ideas in people's heads.
Putting ideas in people's heads.
Uncreative and technologically challenged people.
Yeah.
What?
So Jason's half.
Nobody from my half listen. Yeah. That's not advice. That's warning.
That's warning. And so you really can't do it alone, and you ought to pray daily and constantly about getting strength to stop yourself from taking advantage of your wife or your soon-to-be wife, or just any of the girls around you. So, and then another thing I'll say is you really, really, really. And this is very hard, all right, especially if you're a young college kid. I don't even know how practical this is, but I will say that if you want to make life a million times easier, if you're trying to stay virtuous, this is a good point, and it's don't drink alcohol in mixed company. That will help you a bajillion %. If you do not drink alcohol in mixed company, then
Drink with your folks.
yeah, drink with your folks, drink with your boys, but don't drink with women around. Don't go on a date and have drinks on the date. Don't. All right, it'll make everything so much easier for you. And pray, dude. Pray before you go on the date. Pray with your girlfriend before you guys go on a date. Pray with your girlfriend as soon as you guys link up. Pray with the parents of your girlfriend. Pray with your parents. Pray with everybody. Bring them all together. Pray. I think it really. It does have to be a community effort. You know, you can't do it without God, and you can't do it without help. And I know that this is like this is more like evangelical advice, but I think it might actually be helpful, which is to try to find at least a couple other guys who have the same goal, you know, and that way maybe you can have an eject button on your, you know, you can say, like, you can have a safe word you're going to text your boy. I need to get out of here. So he can call you and be like, that's an emergency. I need you to come pick me up from wherever, you know? And so you can be like, babe, sorry, I got to go. Please take your hand off my penis. And then get out of there.
It sounds really serious.
Yeah, it sounds like he really needs help. So, I mean, I think you really do have to build infrastructure into your life and keep things out in the open. I mean, that's a big part, is like keep things out in the open.
Yes, sin thrives in darkness.
Yes, and so if you and your girl are sneaking around or whatever, like one way to keep yourself from Emily has this gigantic water. Have you seen this? Look out the window. She was struggling to get to pick them up. It made me feel like we should stop recording and go help her. But should we stop? You think she's got it? I don't know what to do.
She'll be more
it's your
embarrassed
wife.
if I stop and. Yeah, hang on.
Okay, all right. Yeah, go help her.
She's giving up. Trying to carry 10 bags at once. You and just creep along. I'm like, all right.
When she got out of the car and she had them, you know, watermelons don't stack. You know,
No.
so she was like trying to.
I think she discovered that.
Yeah. She
was really hoping they would.
I was watching her in the rearview mirror, like drop them, and I was like, in many ways, our Emilys are similar, and like, so with my Emily, sometimes it's better to let her. Like, she's going to feel more embarrassed and more, like, troubled if you're like, let me let you try to get involved. So it's best to, like, let her do her thing.
Yeah, that's
why
why
I was sitting
here,
like, I was like, should I say anything? Should I let this ride out? I don't know what to do. It was funny to watch. That was funny.
She ended up laughing.
Good. So, yeah, don't if you are sneaking around and, you know, you're hanging out with your girl when you shouldn't be, or you're going to places your parents don't want you to be, or whatever. And like, even if if you're 22, like it's probably good if you've got good parents. It's probably good to impose the rules they imposed on you in high school on yourself when you're 22. If you're not married, I mean, I think you should be married by 22, but if you're not married,
in the society we're building, everyone will be.
Yeah, everyone will be. Yeah, I mean, I got married at 24. I got married as early as I could. Also, get married quick. Get married young is a helpful thing, but also get married quickly.
Yeah, do not stay engaged a long time.
Yeah, don't stay engaged forever. Me and my wife, we met, got engaged, and were married within a year.
Yeah,
so
that's ours.
Yeah, and it's and there, I would like struggle with suicide if I lost my wife. So I'm not like. The marriage isn't going badly, and we got married within a year of meeting.
Well, I think it's all about, maybe I was trying to get to this earlier and I got sidetracked, but you don't need that much time, I don't think, to cover all of the big conversations you need to have.
Yeah.
You don't have to know your wife as well. One thing, it's impossible you won't without living with her.
Right.
But you don't need to know her as well as you would when you've been married 5 years.
Yeah.
That's silly.
Yeah.
Obviously, there are, and that this is also where like parents come in. So this gets a whole lot trickier. Maybe there's different advice here. Two different forms of advice. If you're dating a girl, let's say you are in your late 20s and you're out of the house and your girlfriend is as well, and there's no father to ask.
Yeah.
If you did ask him, he'd be like, "The hell are you talking about?"
Yeah.
He's like, "Whatever. She's a woman. She can make her own decisions."
Yeah,
What
she's
you
an
talking to me
adult.
for? Blah, blah, blah. And like just poo-poos it.
Yeah.
Then you don't really have the. Then it's not an option.
Right.
You don't get the parental support.
Right.
Your parents don't get to talk to her parents or haven't grown up with her parents.
Right.
You guys didn't grow up together and know each other's dirty laundry anyway.
Right.
Because if there were any scandals growing up, you would have found out about them, or any psychotic behavior that you would have caught
Right.
early on just from other people interacting with it. In a smaller, tight-knit community, you're not going to be like, oh, turns out
Yeah.
she's super bipolar and unwilling to deal with it at all.
Yeah. Yeah.
She sees nothing wrong with,
Throwing things in the house and screaming.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like electronics.
Yeah, like electronics. If I ever told you the story, I think we will need to spend a little extra time with something else on this to hit an hour. So I'll tell you the story. I was playing Magic: The Gathering.
Yeah.
This was not long ago.
Yeah.
This is before Abigail, but not that long ago.
Oh, okay.
I was playing Magic: The Gathering, and I lost several times in a row in a stupid way, and I was furious. And I don't remember
How long are these rounds?
They
How
can be
long
like
is it?
30 minutes.
Oh, really?
So,
That
yeah,
quick?
so you play 3 games within a match. And
Okay.
It's the best of 3.
Okay.
I don't now it's it's long enough ago that I don't remember the specifics, but I don't remember how I did it, but I swung my door open or closed into my office in like an aggressive way, not super angry, but close the door, open it. I don't remember, but whatever I did, I broke the water line from our well into my office, and so it just gallons of water start coming out of it and fill my office, and I stand up real fast to address the issue. And when I stand up, I don't push myself far enough out from under my desk.
Yeah.
So I stand up, and I weigh, at that point, I think I weighed like 300 pounds. So if I'm moving quickly, there's like not many things that are going to stop me. And so I just the whole desk just came with me like it was nothing.
No.
And I had a bunch of expensive electronics on the desk. I had multiple like expensive like 2490p gaming monitors that are like 120 hertz. They're like $1,000 a pop. Stood up, dumped them into the water, and I almost lost my PC, my nice $2,000 gaming PC, but I ripped that up off the ground and got it up out of the water before it got damaged, but I started yelling loudly, cussing, and so my wife heard me yelling from my office. My office is, for those of you who don't know, my office is in a separate building from our house. So, but she could hear me in our house, and she heard like banging and stuff. So she came out onto our deck to see if I was okay, and she walked out just in time to see me come out of my office with a monitor over my head and spike it into the ground, and like it exploded. And she was just like, "What is going on? Like, why are you doing that?" And I was like, I don't want to talk about it. Like, I was so embarrassed.
Not right now.
Yeah, I was so embarrassed.
It is humiliating to be caught in your rage.
Yeah. Yes, it is. Yeah. So
I'd prefer for only God to see me.
yes. Yeah. So luckily,
He's not surprised.
He's like, yeah, all right.
He's like, yeah,
I know you're
we've
like
been
that.
working on this, Jason.
Yeah. So I got an insurance policy for $25 a month, and that now covers up to $5,000 of electronics a year, so I can spike them freely.
Yeah, so you can.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's good.
I think it's okay. I think if you're going to destroy anything, destroying just like modern technology that's crap anyways, it's probably fine. But I also got it because I am just like reckless with stuff. What were we saying before that?
I don't know.
We were talking
the
about
watermelons. We got.
Oh yeah, the watermelons distracted us. Yeah, yeah.
We talked about our Emily's a little bit.
Yes, but I mean, I think the ultimate point that you're making is that you're not gonna get away with this by relying on human machinations. This is too big of a problem.
Right. You can't overcome your sin nature without divine intervention.
Right, right. And so you ought to be making as many appeals as possible to heaven as you can.
Mm-hmm.
And be very prayerful. And then my point, I think, is that there are things that you should do. There are ways you should orient yourself that will also make this easier. And I think really one of the things that I really want you to walk away from this, if you're listening to this and this is a problem for you, or you're in this type of situation, is that there really is no way for you to mentally connect the dots between the consequences of your actions and your actions in this way. Like it's so unique in that it's so nefarious in that way, because there are so many other sinful activities that have like almost immediate or at least obvious consequences. Drug addiction, being reckless with your life, taking undue risk, lying. These things have obvious and almost immediate gambling, like almost immediate alcohol abuse, whatever. Like they have almost immediate serious consequences that are very observable and easy to attach to your actions.
Right. Sexual conduct may not.
Yeah, sexual conduct may not.
Like but it may not.
Yeah. If you have like a sex addiction and you cheat on your wife and she divorces you, like that's obviously easy to connect those dots. But if you're 22, you're a charismatic guy that girls like to spend time around, it's going to be easy for you to leverage those relationships to get casual sex out of those girls, and it's going to be very difficult for you to figure out why that's not awesome and why it's actually terrible. And so you should really do the work to understand why God has instructed us to commit long-term to these marriage covenants, and why he has ordained that sexual activity will occur only within that environment and not outside of it. And then a big part of it is that you're going to have is faith. I think you're going to have to just believe God. Like you're just going to have to take his word for it on this one, which requires faith and belief. And so I think sin in general is obviously an indicator of a lack of faith. But because this particular brand of sin is difficult to like associate with its consequences, this is one of those things where you're gonna have to have it's a real faith checker. Like it's a real, like, how deep is your faith? Is it at least you have less faith in the grain of a mustard seed, or whatever the phrase is? Your faith is smaller than that of a mustard seed. Like, and the only way to get more faith is to ask for it.
Well, faith grows. The mustard seed is very small, but it grows into a mighty tree, is what Jesus said.
Okay.
So even if you have just a small amount of faith, it will grow.
Okay. So that's
the wonderful thing about faith, is it may not seem like much at first.
Yeah, but it increases quite substantially.
Yes.
Yeah, and my prayer, the thing I prayed for almost every day with my morning devotional, several times a day for like almost the past year. I think I even asked you to pray for me for it a couple times. Was like doubt, because I felt like I was lacking faith. And so a lot of my praying this year has been asking God to make me believe more, make me believe even deeper that he exists and that Christ sacrificed himself for me and that there is a heaven, and that and I've seen a tremendous I've really grown in the time that I've been praying for that. My faith has expanded dramatically. And so I would say that there are other tectonic, more fundamental things you can aim at that may in turn affect the sexual stuff that we're talking about. That's not isn't directly addressing, what I'm saying is, don't just pray, Lord, help me to not look at porn. Lord, give me the strength to not have sex with my girlfriend.
Right.
Pray also, Lord, that you would increase my faith, that you would increase my belief in you and in your word and in what the Bible says, so that I can, when I read Scripture and I come across the parts that advise me to steer away from sexual immorality and impurity, I can believe that that's a good thing. And so I think that's vitally important. And so yeah, that's my summary: is deepen your faith, get married as quickly as you possibly can, within reason, within what is healthy. Don't do anything absurd. But yeah, that's my advice. That's how I'm going to sum my end of it up.
Don't marry a girl from a divorced family in 3 months.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. But if you grew up, if you have the blessing of being able to grow up in a tight-knit church community, and your parents know their parents, and you've known her forever, and all of a sudden you
ask your elders' advice.
Yeah, if you see her, and all of a sudden you're like, wow, I didn't
realize
Susie. Really, Susie?
Yeah.
And maybe it's time to go talk to Susie's dad.
My Susie.
Yeah, my Susie. Hello.
You're looking fine.
Would you like some lemonade?
Is that a Key and Peele joke?
No, I don't know.
Oh,
I was
okay.
just thinking of what a young Southern man might say 200 years ago.
I've got a video to show you that.
Okay. Yeah, so go ask her dad. If you are blessed enough to be in this in that type of environment, there really isn't a need to wait. Go ask her dad. If you're a good kid, then he'll probably be happy to at least entertain the conversation. And
you're ready to have some things to work on. He might want you to.
Yeah, that's true. He might be like, well, I want you to have a job, or I want you to do the. I want you to.
Because it is his job to make sure that you can provide for her. That's the other part.
Right.
At 18, unfortunately, very few 18-year-olds can provide.
Yeah, anything. Yeah.
So that's the tricky part about getting married as early as you can. Don't do that if you are both going to have to work multiple part-time jobs.
Yeah.
So we are talking in some way about the ideal and about the culture that we think should exist.
Yeah.
And it would be very difficult to get married quickly and early
now
to a girl you've grown up with in the culture now. That's going to fit very few people's experience or just ability to find that.
Yeah, and maybe.
But if you're younger, I don't know if there's any teenagers listening to this, but if there are, be working your way towards. Don't be like, well, I don't know what I want to do for a living.
Yeah, just do something.
Start finding something that you can do for a living that you don't that you don't hate.
Yeah. That's a big one. Yeah, listen, here, we hammer this message every time. I won't ever stop. Go to church, man. If you're a young guy, go to church. Find some dudes who are, doing what you want to do, or doing something that even sounds interesting. Like one of the things I've always thought, like, even if Hyper Premium doesn't work out and I fail as a business person, which I don't think that's going to happen, but if I did, I could always go work at kitchens, because that's a skill that's what I used to do. I was a line cook for a long time. I've always known that if I had to pick up a trade, I could do stonemasonry. I would really like that. And so, if I had to do that, if I had to make a switch like that, the first thing I would do is find an experienced stonemason who knew what he was doing, and bring him donuts every day, and pick up his tools and stuff, and do whatever I had to do to just get around him, and just be a sponge. And so, yeah, like if that is one, like, and keeping yourself busy will help. Yes,
absolutely.
Like getting a full-time job.
Don't leave idle time.
Yeah, getting a full-time job where you're moving around, or you're like having to, your mind is occupied for like at least 8 hours a day doing
and
other
saving
stuff.
That money.
Yeah, and then saving that money.
Make your nest egg.
Yeah. Keeping yourself busy will help a lot with porn. Keeping yourself busy will help.
It will, absolutely. Idleness is the devil's workshop. It's a very accurate. It's like he goes to town when you're sitting around going, I don't know what I should do. Maybe I'll look at boobs.
Yeah, maybe I'll look at boobs. Yeah, and you are a human being. You're designed for work. So when you're not working, you're going to get depressed.
Yes.
And when you get depressed, man, Pornhub starts to look real attractive.
Mm-hmm.
And so you really want to stay away from idleness, and that'll help. I think what we're saying is that'll help you impress a good woman's father.
Yes. He goes, here's a guy who's hustling.
Yeah, he's
working
18.
his butt off.
Yeah, he's dumb. He's dumb as hell. He's got no idea what he's doing, but at least he's doing something.
Right.
He'll figure it out.
He's inexperienced.
Yeah, he'll figure it out eventually.
Yes.
He's got the hustle.
He's
That's what
going to
matters.
actually do it.
Right. He's going to actually do it. So, yeah, and it's not like my 18-year-old
Not
daughter
sitting
is,
around apathetic.
Yeah, my 18-year-old daughter is not exactly like, equipped to like handle the burden of being a housewife totally. So she's got
Yeah.
some learning to do, and he'll know that. He'll recognize that.
Yeah.
And so, but that is the ideal.
He'll have done his best to get her there.
Yeah, he'll have done his best to get her there, but he'll know she's got another, at least 2 or 3 years of actually running a home to get it
Yeah.
all down.
Only to have that change with every child that comes along.
Yes, yeah, totally
have to come up
yeah.
with a completely new way of doing things
yeah.
every 2 years.
Yes. Yeah, and I would say you can even apply that idea of like getting around guys who are experienced, apply that to dudes with good marriages. If you've got, go to church and scope out the women that seem delightful, the married women that seem delightful, and figure out who they're married to, and then take that guy to lunch, pay for his lunch. You get his phone number and text him, and you figure out a time and a place to go, and then so it's very low effort for him, and then you pay for his lunch, and then sit down and drill him with questions like he's a dartboard. Just what do you do? How did you court her? Where did you go? What was your first date like? What do you guys act now? How do you deal with lust temptations? Did you guys have sex before you were married? If you didn't, how did you do that?
That might be second or third lunch.
Yeah, sure, maybe. Yeah, if the guy's a conservative guy, like a reserved guy, then maybe don't hit him with the like.
Don't
hit him with the deep
sex
stuff. But
life.
if a young guy took me to lunch, he could ask me that. Like,
Well,
Yes,
but not.
yes,
I'm
yeah.
imagining our elders at church.
Yeah. So
Be a lot of.
yeah, maybe I don't know. Yeah.
Well, here's what I'll say generally.
Yeah. So have some decorum. Don't have like total autism, but find a guy with a good marriage and figure out how he got a good marriage. Yeah, how did he do it? And so that's it, man. Just be smart. Understand that the thing you're doing is miraculous. Like, you preserving your virtue into marriage is a miracle. It is impossible. It is an impossible task, and you need to address it as such. It's an incredibly serious thing, and you need to address it as the impossible task that it is. And
By bringing in the impossible doer.
yes, bring in the impossible doer himself, the fabricator of all reality, the guy who bends the rules at his will. Bring him in, get him involved through prayer. Memorize some scripture too. I think maybe that's a good one. Memorize some scripture around virtue and purity.
Go read Proverbs. There's a lot about sexual temptation in Proverbs. Read through Proverbs and memorize the sections about harlots.
Yeah.
And quote that to yourself. And whenever you see someone with some gal with their shirt too low or their skirt too high, I go, harlot.
Jezebel, get away from me. Yeah.
Be gone.
Yes.
Adulteress.
Yes. Yeah. So
Your path leads down to Sheol.
yes, it does.
Your house is full of dead men's bones.
Your house is full of dead men's bones. What's something about our bed? Whatever. It just doesn't matter. We're at time, so I won't dig us any deeper. But
You all go and read it.
yeah, you guys go and read it. You get what we're trying to say, man. Be smart. Understand that what you're doing has serious consequences that even you can't see in the moment.
You won't know until it's too late in some ways.
Yeah, you won't know. You will not understand until you're having to cradle your beautiful, sweet wife as she's sobbing because she has to think. She's trying to fight picturing you doing something with some other woman.
Uh-huh.
You just can't understand the pain that causes.
Oh, there's a series of articles that are heartbreaking. I wish I could remember what his name was. Maybe we'll have to look it up and put it in the show notes.
Okay.
But I believe the article titles, and I think there were 5 or 6 of them. It was like from a blog. But it was called Pornifying the Marriage Bed.
Oh boy.
And it's really brutal.
Yeah. Yeah, so
But
man,
you should go read that before
we should
you're
put that-
married.
we should put that in the show notes.
Yeah.
We will put that in the show notes. So yeah, guys, just be aware that you are playing with nuclear bombs here. You're playing with like ultimate destruction radiation zone stuff. So yeah, listen, we love you guys. Jason, you got anything you want to add on to the end?
No, sir.
Okay, we love you guys. We're praying for you, and we'll throw some extra prayers in this week for you on this topic specifically.
You're gonna need them.
Yeah, you're gonna need them. You're gonna need them. Yeah, you're gonna need them.
Pray for us. We need it too.
Pray for us. We need it too. We are also men. We are also young men.
Speak for yourself.
You're pretty young, dude. Being sub 40 is young. We're young men, and that comes with a level of energetic temptation that's hard to deal with, and so we need your prayers too. We are in the boat with you, is what we're saying. So we're with you guys, dude. Please go to church. Find a young woman who make yourself worthy of a young woman that you would want to marry, and marry her. Have as many kids as the Lord wants you to have, and be good, man. We're praying for you. We love you guys. We'll see you next week. Bye-bye.